With San Francisco wrapping up day 2 of training camp, in this video, it's a perfect opportunity to examine every single position group and really see who stood out. Initially, to start out, we're going to be looking at Brock Purdy, who went 13 of 14 today and rebounded nicely from his 2 interception day yesterday. And like I was saying yesterday, don't make these interceptions in training camp that big of a deal. Some people try to hype him up, but Purdy honestly just tries to get better. He was extremely efficient on the day, and he also had a pretty nice dime drop to George Kittle right on the sideline. But the better quarterback arguably today was Mac Jones. He was just as efficient as Brock Purdy, but he had a nice deep ball to Isaiah Neyor, maybe 40-45 yards down the field. He also had some nice deep passes, one to Juwan Jennings, who unfortunately dropped it, and one to Brayden Willis, a tight end, who was able to bring it in. So Jones does look like a pretty solid backup, and honestly, I'm surprised the team didn't take a flyer on him to see if he can compete for a starting job. But now, we need to move on to the players they were throwing to with the wide receivers, and Isaiah Neyor was the player who stood out probably the most this entire training camp so far. On the day, the 6'4", 220-pound wide receiver was able to make a couple of catches, with the most impressive being that 40-45 yard grab I was talking about earlier. With multiple defenders in coverage, he needed to make a diving catch, and he did just that, which is something we saw in his college tape time and time again. And honestly, I think he has the potential to be a real breakout player for San Francisco. He has prototypical measurements. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.4 seconds, he has a nearly 7-foot wingspan, and like he demonstrated today, he doesn't just have prototypical measurements, but he's shown he can put it together on the football field. If he's able to link this together for a couple of practices in a row and head into this preseason, I expect him to make San Francisco's 53-man roster and maybe even contribute early on. I mean, there's just no way San Francisco is going to be able to sneak him on the practice squad. He's 6'4", 220, runs a 4.40, and is now making plays consistently in practice. He made it earlier during this minicamp period, and now he's doing it in training camp, and it seems likely he's going to do this against backups during the preseason period, so San Francisco needs to figure out a roster spot for him because he could truly develop into a weapon for them and maybe replace a player like Brandon Ayuk in a couple of years if they want to move off of him. I mean, he's that talented. Another wide receiver who should have a breakout year under Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan is Demarcus Robinson. He runs routes extremely fluid, he creates a ton of separation, which is why he had 7 touchdowns against press man coverage last year, and this entire offseason, all he's done is made big plays and built his chemistry with Brock Purdy. Today, for instance, on 3rd down, guess where Brock Purdy was going? Demarcus Robinson, 25 yards down the field, and he hauled in with no issue. It's also worth noting that San Francisco signed Quintez Cephas to replace Jacob Cowing, who had a pulled hamstring yesterday. Also, Ricky Pearsall is expected to make his return in a couple of days as he rehabs his hamstring issue. Now moving into the tight ends, George Kittle continues to look like an all-pro tight end and probably the best tight end across the National Football League. As I was mentioning earlier, he had that nice catch from Brock Purdy, and early on in the season, I expect Kyle Shanahan to use him a ton as Brandon Ayuk and Demarcus Robinson both will be out to start the season. But Kittle wasn't the only one to impress. Their 3rd-year tight end in Brayden Willis had a nice deep pass from Mac Jones I was talking about earlier, and I also think he's pretty solid in his routes, is a solid blocker, and head into the season, it'll be interesting to see if he can actually push for that number 2 tight end job. Granted, San Francisco did sign Luke Farrell, but Brayden Willis is making plays this offseason. But now moving into San Francisco's running back room, Christian McCaffrey continues to look like his old self. He's quick in and out of his breaks, has great hands, and probably will have another great season for Kyle Shanahan. Meanwhile, San Francisco's 2nd-year back in Isaac Grindo continues to look like a solid player. He's one of the fastest backs on the field. I mean, he runs his 40-yard dash in 4.33 seconds, and his background as a wide receiver makes it so his routes are a lot better than most running backs. Outside of these veterans, Jordan James looks like he's extremely explosive with the ball in his hands, twitchy, and also, once targeted, does a great job of bringing it in. So heading into the season, I think Kyle Shanahan should be using all 3 of these backs. There should be a rotation, or maybe just get Christian McCaffrey, Isaac Grindo on the field at the same time, or Christian McCaffrey, Jordan James. There's a lot of things you can do, and by changing up backs, you don't just keep each one healthy, you also make it a lot more challenging on the defense. Changing up from a player like Christian McCaffrey to a bruiser like Jordan James, for instance, is a nightmare. But now, we need to jump into San Francisco's offensive line. Specifically, we need to talk about their left guard competition, with Nick Zakelj once again getting the reps here. Honestly, if Ben Bartch isn't ready, it seems like San Francisco is ready to run with him. Another major concern for San Francisco's offensive line is the right tackle position, and today, Cole McKivitz gave up a would-be sack to Mykel Williams. It's also worth mentioning Trent Williams once again did practice today, so that's great for Brock Purdy heads into the season. Now though, once again, we need to change the position groups, now going to the defensive side of the ball, going to the trenches on that side, specifically looking at their defensive end in Mykel Williams. Today marks Williams' second straight practice of recording a sack on Brock Purdy. This time though, it wasn't as a defensive tackle, but as a defensive end on Cole McKivitz. He found his way quickly into the backfield and would have gotten a sack on the play. In addition to that, there were several plays where he lined up directly across from Trent Williams and did an excellent job of stuffing the run. He's going to be a perfect edge piece in San Francisco's defense. Routinely, you saw the back trying to bounce it outside, then they saw Williams to cut it back towards the teeth of the defense. And after practice, Trent Williams spoke about the reps he took against Mykel Williams, saying he has a potential to be an all-pro player in this league. And when you look how San Francisco is starting to use him, I think he does as well. Today, for instance, with him lying directly up over the guard, rather than rushing the quarterback, he actually dropped into coverage, which really just shows how much creativity Robert Saleh has as a defensive coordinator. Another way Robert Saleh and Chris Kasarik will use Mykel Williams is in NASCAR packages, and today we saw the starting lineup of that package, and it was Bryce Huff on the outside, then moving inwards, Mykel Williams. Next to Mykel Williams, it was Kalia Davis, and obviously the other end was Nick Bosa, but the player that I'm really interested to see starting here is Kalia Davis. It'll be interesting to see if San Francisco tries to move off of him, maybe put Alfred Collins or CJ West into there, but Kalia Davis is extremely fast off the ball and can be successful there. Outside of San Francisco's defensive line, we need to talk about their linebackers, and today, the best players once again were Fred Warner and D. Winters. Both are solid in coverage, and Fred Warner does an excellent job in his run fits. Now though, moving back to San Francisco's secondary, the most impressive player today was Upton Stout. The rookie got reps with the starters, and come week 1, it seems likely he will be San Francisco's starting nickelback as Trey Brown continues to give up big plays. And like a player like Mykel Williams, I'm also interested to see how Robert Saleh actually uses Upton Stout, because today he sent him on several blitzes. Outside of Stout though, San Francisco's secondary really struggled today. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones were just doing whatever they want, basically at will, and Mac Jones was tearing up the safeties. I mean, Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant can't be giving up big plays to Isaiah Nayer. Granted, this is just one practice, but without Malik Mustafa to start the season, San Francisco may want to sign a safety if Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant continue to struggle this offseason and preseason period. But ultimately, these are just some players that really stood out to me on day 2 of San Francisco's training camp, and I want to hear your thoughts if you're there, who really stood out to you. And if you did enjoy this video, it would mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.